Hello there, my name is Robot David 11 and I am the author of The Four Seas. It's a fictional book set in 1920s Chicago about a group of vigilantes hunting gangsters. I hope you enjoy it. Through the hum of the city, a single train could be heard methodically pulling into the station. A hiss of steam momentarily obstructed the gleam from moonlit steel as a single passenger stepped off onto the platform, his lone footsteps echoing throughout the depot. He was a stock, balding man with a comb over a brown suit and what looked like the day's newspaper clutched tightly. The train had started to move again as soon as he got off, yet despite the rhythmic rattle of carriages, another set of footsteps was now audible. From out a shadowy corridor, another man appeared onto the platform, staring with his eyes squinted at the passenger and his papers. "Sir," he began, nodding politely, "I'm here to escort you to the boss." "Right then," the passenger said, immediately relaxing. "Say, I don't recognize you," the passenger said curiously, inspecting the man's black suit and fedora, unpolished shoes and blue tie. "Don't worry, I know exactly where you're going," the man replied with a touch of arrogance. They continued on, the man's expression fixed into one of anticipation. They were passing towering pillars, ornate iron windows, and empty trains that looked like cold, dead metal behemoths. The passenger continued to study his escort, his face now transfixed on a crate labeled fragile. Despite this, the man kicked it, looking relieved at the glass of sound within. "Reckless," muttered the passenger, growing ever doubtful. "What are you going to do about it?" taunted the man, smug in his act. The passenger could do nothing but sigh in exasperation. "Aw, come on," the man began. "Don't worry about it," he said reassuringly, pulling the passenger into an uncomfortably tight embrace and taking a nosy peek at his papers. "I worry about everything," said the passenger in a deadpan tone, trying unsuccessfully to dislodge the man's tightening grip. Trying to ignore the awkward situation, the passenger explained, "I'm meant to meet my boss there," pointing towards the depot office. His words were met with a pistol pointed at his face, and his papers were snatched in his moment of shock. The man ruffled through the news articles to find the ledger concealed within them, and the pistol was now pressed into the passenger's back. "Sorry, you're not who I thought you were," said the man, checking the ledger's records. Before the passenger had a chance to alleviate his stress, the man continued with, "It turns out you're way more valuable. I'm sure the boss will miss his beloved Riley Douglas." Riley now came over his initial wave of shock, instead being overcome with panic. He began to call out, "Let me go this instant! I have very powerful allies! Someone call the police! And it's Mr. Douglas to you, hooligan!" Yeah, tell it to Sweeney," said the kidnapper, continuing to peruse the ledger. "It's not like your powerful allies are with us right now." A side door then flew open and bashed into the adjacent brick wall, adding to Riley's distress, whilst his captor's eyes were locked onto the two silhouettes in the frame. "I beg to differ," announced one of the shadows. "Who are you?" demanded the kidnapper. "We are here to ensure the safety of Mr. Douglas," was the reply. The kidnapper did not hesitate for a moment, and squeezed the trigger on his pistol, yet it was loose, and no matter how hard he squeezed it, the gun wouldn't fire. He quickly inspected the chamber, checking if there was a bullet in it, and also took a glance at the safety. None of those were causing the issue, so he concluded it must have malfunctioned in some way. As he fiddled with his gun, the other two men began approaching with knives. He had no choice but to scram. As soon as he let go and began sprinting towards the main door, he overheard one of the two gangsters say, "He's running, you can shoot him now." With horror, the failed kidnapper looked behind him to see someone with their arm outstretched towards him, gun presumably in hand. The first shot deafened him, but he didn't feel anything other than that. He began weaving between pillars to throw off the shooter's aim. He saw the muzzle flash every now and then, and each bullet made the ringing in his ears ever louder. He eventually reached the door and slammed through it, and there he saw his getaway car, with his companion alerted by the gunshots. "Glenn," he called to the driver, "we need to skedaddle." He forcefully pried the door open and jumped into the passenger seat, then pushed the throttle lever until it couldn't go any further. Glenn reacted immediately, grabbing the wheel and paying attention to the empty road ahead. "Need your piece for a second," said the kidnapper, reaching into his friend's pocket and pulling out his sawed-off shotgun. He shot blindly at where he thought the main door of the station was. Clearly he missed because a bullet hole appeared in the car's door, which was still open. This reminded the kidnapper to close it. Glenn was still focused on driving. He turned a few corners until he eventually found some place to hide the car, where the duo took cover for a while. "I assume it was a setup," said Glenn, lighting a cigarette. "Dang right it was," muttered the kidnapper, unsuccessfully trying to diagnose the issue with his pistol. "What's that book about?" The kidnapper didn't even realize he had brought the ledger with him. "A present for Jess," he said dryly and sarcastically.